And we're live. The Burn and Learn. It's alive. It's alive. Okay, let me see. Gotta pull up my YouTube. Have a little looky see what's going on there. Let's get that chat up and running, shall we? Oh, there I am. Live, little me. Let's check out that chat. Let's pop that out. Pop out the chat. Pop that out. Here we go. And the musical journey is over. Let me go grab a drink, and I'll be with you very shortly, shall I? Here I go. Where is my drink? There it is. All right. Hello, everybody. Just in time to see me go and get a drink. Let me move this forward a little bit so you can actually hear me somewhat hearing. How is audio? How are my usual streaming issues? That and the fact that my glasses keep fogging up because I'm too damn sweaty. Mandy! 2462, how are you? Good evening, David. How are you? Perfect timing as you've just finished work. Very good. Mike? Mike? How's the mic? You're not hearing it. Live. Jonathan Layton Hoggett, how are you? Randy the Magic Man, how are you, Randy? Randy. Rebel Time Lady, Amanda Bricker, Eric Philpott. Who else have we got here? Layer Cake Dev, how are you? It all sounds good? Very good. All right. Yeah, I only listen to Cal on these things. If Cal tells me it sucks, it sucks. I mean, when it comes to audio. Everything else, I don't listen to a word she says, frankly. Oh, hey. Orion Pyros, Paper Clips, how are you? Mona LGS, good evening to you. Who else have we got? We can't hear you, or is it just me? I don't know, Deanna and Joe. Let's find out. Audio swell, it says. I think it might just be you then. I can hear you. Well, if one person can hear you, then I'm sure that can hear me. I imagine it probably is your side of things. So this is my Burn and Learn. This is my bid to stay alive and fit long enough to enjoy my golden old age with my fabulous wife, Jane, my brilliant son, Sebastian, and my wretched mutt that is called Huzzah. See if I can get rid of her before then. I'm sure I will. I am having a exercise, little burst of exercise, trying to get a little fitter than I have been. So I'm on the damn torture device. Try to do it every other day now. I was doing it every day for a little while, but it's too much. I'm too old and I'm too lazy. Couldn't be bothered. Also, I was just everything hurt. It's horrible. Today, did not want to do it. Tried to talk myself out of it. Tried to get my wife to talk me out of it. I was like, Jane, I don't know. I'm pretty achy today from all that picking up of leaves and putting it in bags yesterday. And maybe I should just take a break. And she wasn't buying it, so I had to go and exercise. However, I did not wear shorts today. I actually wore my track pants today because it is freaking chilly out there. As my wife says, I believe it's colder in the garage and outside. I've been telling her that for ages, but no. So what I try to do is learn something while I'm doing this exercise torture that is my pathetic existence. And what I've been reading recently is a book called The History of Horror. Because I'm a bit of a horror buff, I must say. And I never really thought of studying it, so to speak. I'd only ever sort of watched horror films. It was always something that I gravitated to at certain times, usually around 10 p.m. And so I've been watching an awful lot of horror, and I thought it would be just kind of fun to know more about it, know more about the genesis of this stuff. And so I started reading this. I think it's probably a history text for a university course or something. What is it? The guy's got a terribly pretentious sounding name. It's like Wheeler Winston or something like that. It's called The History of Horror. It's a very good book. I've got to say, I'm really quite enjoying it. I've got to the point now where we're talking about late 60s into the 70s and how, because probably in a large part because of Vietnam, people are more accustomed to violence. So these old Frankenstein monsters and Draculas and such from the past, where you had to go to an ancient tomb to be terrified by a mummy or something. Now people seem to react more to the idea of this stuff at home, and that started with a number of these sort of horrible sort of slasher. I would call it torture porn. It sort of began back then. And caught on, the Halloween series eventually, leading to the Halloween series. He, I think, unfairly includes the Scream franchise, but I don't feel like Scream was a part of that. I feel like Scream was more of a commentary on that myself, but because I felt Scream elevated it a little bit more. But maybe that was just because I was younger and didn't know as much about horror as this fellow. So they include, so there was Halloween, there was Nightmare on Elm Street, there was Friday the 13th, the whole slew of slasher films, including Chainsaw Massacre, all this kind of stuff. I got to be honest, they're not my kind of films. I don't know what it is. I prefer the older stuff, not the older stuff, but I prefer something that's just a little different. I don't really enjoy people torturing and killing people, unless it's very clever. I don't know what my I should figure out. It'd be interesting to see what my line is for this stuff. But there's just some films when I start watching them, I go, this is just people getting killed, and there's no plot to it. And I want a story. I want characters I care about. My son was telling me that there was the Jeepers Creepers stuff was something that there was a lot of issues with the director, because the director had been, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe he'd actually been found guilty of child molestation and stuff, and yet he was still had this rather successful series of movies, which I'd watched and actually quite enjoyed, to be honest. There were always elements of it that I quite liked, and but I didn't watch the latest one because of that. And Baz seemed quite upset that I didn't know this, and that these films were films that he didn't feel I should be watching. So, I mean, I thought it's easy enough for me to respect that. I did watch a couple of films this weekend. I subjected my poor family to this one called There's Something in the Barn, which sounded kind of fun. It's a Norwegian horror, almost like a Norwegian Gremlins movie, and I feel like it could have worked. The weird thing is, I don't understand why they cast the Americans in it. The weird thing is, all the Norwegian actors were so much better. Like, they were funny. They really understood the humor of it. And I just didn't, I don't know what they're like as actors the rest of the time, but they're just their characters. Maybe, I don't know what it was. Just didn't work for me. So the film was just like, so it left me kind of cold. The other one that I had great hopes for was a film called Howl, which is a British film about passengers stuck on a train surrounded by werewolves. But again, even that sort of got a little bogged down and stuff. The thing about horror for me is, it is rare that I find a perfect horror, like a horror film that I enjoy beginning to end, and I enjoy the characters and all that kind of stuff. What I do like about them, I think, is just those moments of brilliance. And there was definitely some really fun stuff in both of these films. But I just didn't feel like they sustained. And certainly with There's Something in the Barn, it's too long. Like, it just felt like it went on and on and on, and that, which is just death when it comes to a horror movie. You think death when it comes to a horror movie? Never mind. So I just watched a lot of horror stuff. It's been interesting hearing about the different approaches to horror. There was, he talks about Japanese horror, early Japanese horror, and their sort of obsession with these ghost stories, and obviously, there was samurai stuff and some really interesting, creepy stuff about, like someone who sees a face in a teacup and gets haunted by a face in a teacup. I was like, well, only in Japan would someone come up with something like that. And then there were these Mexican films, which eventually ended up getting into these almost Abbott and Costello-like wrestling films, but we're doing a bunch of stuff there. There was Mario Bava, one of the two, who's this filmmaker that I've seen a number of things for. The guy who did Shaun of the Dead, whose name I never get right. What's his name? Edgar Wright, says my wife, who's not listening because she's working downstairs. Edgar Wright, great director. One of my favorite movies of all time, Baby Driver. Loved Shaun of the Dead, but Baby Driver was brilliant. And honestly, I think he made one of the most perfect films, which was Scott Pilgrim, which I just absolutely adored. I've seen it 3 or 4 times now, and every time I see it, I find something else that I love about it. Not a horror, weirdly. But he is a huge movie buff, has lots to say about horror stuff. I've seen him in a number of horror documentaries and stuff talking about things. And he recommended this Mario Bava stuff, and I've really kind of enjoyed it, more because you see stuff in these old Italian spaghetti western, not spaghetti westerns. These are like the equivalent of horror version of a spaghetti western. What would that be? Like a butchered, I don't know what you would call it, like a gore pasta, and they're just kind of fun in how they've been adopted by all these other filmmakers. I'm looking forward to see some of the Japanese stuff as well, because I'm sure I'll see that there. One of the Mario Bava ones that really struck home for me as something that had been taken on by another director was Ridley Scott used this terrible Mario Bava movie called Planet of the Vampires. Just awful, plotless, absolutely plotless. But some beautiful visuals, especially for the time, and some visual effects from the time that were so reminiscent of the Alien that I remember seeing, that he must have been inspired by it, because there's just, I mean, it was much cheaper, not nearly as classy version of it. I mean, although at the time I guess maybe it was, but the thing I couldn't get over in the Planet of the Vampires, which I'm not going to recommend to anyone because it honestly is basically unwatchable, is the costumes. Like, have a look at some of the costumes. Like, these beautiful leather spacesuits. I was like, God damn it, why didn't we have cool leather spacesuits like that on Stargate? Man, I'd look like a freaking Italian movie star. It'd be fantastic. All right, let's go to the chat, see what's going on. Whoa, lots of raiders, and oh my gosh. Saucefire, thank you for rating, and thank you for telling me about Edgar Wright. Just after my wife, I guess. Greetings from the dorkdom. Well, you are part of the dorkdom here too. This is all dorky, geeky stuff for me. Rated with a party of 11. Thank you very much, Saucefire. It's very nice of you to think of me. David wanted me to change my name to Gateship 1. Darn right. Puddle jumper my butt. Qubits. That's actually fascinating. Never thought of the impact of war on horror movies. Yeah, this is one of the things, Qubits, that I'm kind of fascinated by with the horror stuff, is like seeing, what are the, extenuating circumstances? What are the external influences on films, and specifically horror? Because I like I say, horror is one of those ones that still surprises me to this day. I still find little pleasant surprises, and some very unpleasant ones, of course, as well. But because there's so much experimenting going on in the horror genre that you don't normally see unless you're looking at like art films, and I'm afraid I just don't have the patience or the intelligence for art films. I'm afraid they don't do much for me. Dusk Till Dawn, yeah, there's some interesting stuff on Dusk Till Dawn. I've been actually reading up about that recently as well. Exorcism of Emily Rose, yeah. Oh my God, someone shroomed you and then showed you that film? Oh, that's not fun at all. Oh my God, I can only imagine. That's got to be that's literally a nightmare. Well, Corey Ryder, you need new and better friends. Nixie, hello from Chile, UK. Is it as chilly as Toronto, for God's sake? Dusk Till Dawn is still pretty great. It's so funny. I don't remember loving Dusk Till Dawn, I gotta say. I may have been in an anti-Tarantino phase at the moment, but Storm Players is trying to kill me with some lemons. How about Cube? Yeah, that was a fun one. Was that a horror? I guess that was a horror. I guess it was horror. It was violent and people killing each other. And for some reason, I still thought it was kind of good. David, I was wondering, is it hard for you to make yourself cry when shooting emotional scenes? I just poke myself in the eyes, Philippe. Honestly, or dry your eyes out by staring for a long time. And then once you start crying, you get all like, oh my God, I'm so good. I just want to cry more. It's just, weirdly, it's something that I always had a very, very hard time with to start. And I never wanted to use any tricks, because I always thought it was important to, get to it naturally. But the reality is you can only get to it naturally once or twice. If you're shooting it 10, 15 times, you got to come up with a mechanical way of doing it. And there's also days that you don't have that. I find if you can have the external look of that stuff, if you can get the tears flowing some way, your body almost takes over. It's almost instinctive, where you go like, oh my God, I'm crying. Oh my God, I'm crying. And then there's this sort of weird little thrill and panic that happens that allows you to do that. So I mean, I think there are probably much better actors out there who can make themselves cry on a dime. I mean, I guess in a way I can do that now, but it's all cheating. I feel like it's cheating. But I also feel like, it's not much good. It's like a stuntman who can do amazing stunts once. What's the use? If you do the stunt and it's off camera, then you're dead, then or you're maimed or whatever, and you can't do it again. What's the point? I feel the same way with acting. If you can just, listen to music and think about dead relatives and the horrors of the world and the thought of losing loved ones and make yourself cry, you just can't do that numerous times. It doesn't make any sense. So Dog Soldiers, yep, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Wayne Taylor, that is I give you a point for that. I'm not sure what points those would be, but I'm going to give you a point for that, Wayne Taylor, because yes, Dog Soldiers with one of my favorite actors is Sean Pertwee. I just love that guy. He was also in Howl for all of about 2 minutes. Again, dying horribly as always. Our future is every horror movie, 1984, Brave New World, all rolled up into one. Yeah, Corey Ryder. I mean, that's part of the thing, right? I mean, it would be interesting to see, how have horror films changed since, 9/11? How have they changed since how will they change now because of the situation in Ukraine or in the Middle East? Or any of the issues that are going on. It's interesting to watch African horror films because there's a very, very different feel to that stuff than what we get in North America. I mean, I think I have a tendency to. I have a very sheltered North American approach to film and TV. I guess I have England as well. England, for some reason, are just they're twisted little bastards. They come up with some really good stuff. So I say ZPM, but with the Z. Good. Serious Salamander, because that's how it's said. Dawn of the Dead, 70s one. Yes, Quandary, interesting point. Dawn of the Dead, again, was seen as this sort of like, is it the term watershed moment or bloodshed moment? When bloodshed's kind of like that, where it all changed, right? I mean, even just the thought of the concept that there was this sort of external zombie apocalypse and there was people trapped in a room, very sort of Lifeboat, that kind of Hitchcock approach to like stick a bunch of people trap them in a room under peril and have them discuss stuff. It's sort of a fascinating and great way to make a contained film. Again, same approach with Dawn of the Dead. The other thing about Dawn of the Dead, again, took the violence level up. It was sort of unflinching look at when zombies bit them and all sorts of horrible aspects to that, which were new to audiences. He was competing with these giant studios and giant studio budgets, and you just can't fight that. So what do? You go the other way and you try to provide, is what this book is saying, is basically that it opened it up to the indies, where the indies could provide audiences, especially younger audiences who were a little more jaded by things like Vietnam and stuff, who were willing to see something that would offend and horrify their parents and such. So yeah, that film was seen as a real breakthrough. The other thing that I think not a lot of people talk about on that is it had a black lead. It had a black leading man. I mean, that was something that again, the big studio films, they couldn't do that. They couldn't do that because they felt that it was gonna be a problem with their market. Look, I remember Jane and I talking about a movie not even 15 years ago or so, talking about a movie with a producer who said that no, they can't sell a movie with a black lead. I mean, that's like what? What are you talking about? But so this industry is entirely based on how you look, and if they believe that that's obviously not the case anymore. Now I would say you probably, certainly the number of films I'm seeing now, it seems that people of color seem to be a big bonus for getting films out right now. But again, that's Hollywood. Like Hollywood is all based up. It's a visual medium. It's all about how you look and whether your look fits with the stories you're telling and the audiences. And I mean, at this point, it's such a business and really, to the box office basically, and there's, I mean, that would be an interesting thing to see. The representation, like a diversity within horror films. I wonder, my hunch is that I think horror films would be ahead of the curve on a lot of this stuff because, again, you can do things that the studios couldn't do. So it's fascinating. Wayne, what have you said that's brilliant? Jaws, Alien were horror movies. New Japanese Godzilla is supposed to be excellent. Yeah, I've heard that was a Godzilla -1 or whatever it is. Is that a series? I think it's like a series, isn't it? I'm looking forward to seeing that, actually. I'm sure Baz will watch that with me. What do you got? Zombies can be made with rabies, bird flu, and stuff. Yeah, exactly. That was a fascinating one. Again, for me, a big jump in the zombie genre was that, was it, how many days later? 7 days later? 8 days later? Whatever it was called? 6 days later? 5 days later? What was it called? 5 days after? What was that film called, Jane? What was that zombie film that we liked? That they shut down London? 28 days. There you go. I was going way too low with the days. Thank you, Jane. Jane is my sexy Google, just in case you wonder. Instead of asking Google anything, I just ask Jane. She's far more attractive. Okay, Denzel Washington or Candyman. Okay, get Denzel Washington or Candyman guy. I'm telling you, Candyman, the new Candyman, I thought was great. I watched it with Baz. I really enjoyed it. It had this Jordan Peele flavor to it, directed, I believe, by a woman. The film was kind of fascinating. It was this sort of intriguing urban horror, and not urban like oh, it's a black film. I mean urban like it's downtown and the area has been gentrified by yuppies and stuff, and it's almost like a a rebellion to that, to these black neighborhoods that have been trashed and turned into big high rises and condos and stuff. Sort of I got to say, I preferred that to the original one. The original one had some shocking scenes in it. I mean, I got to find out about how they did the bees scene in that first one, because they didn't have CG, so I'm guessing, like, did they have bees in their mouths and stuff? Like, whoa, I thought it was bad enough for the rats. There's also 28 Weeks Later film. Yeah, I didn't like that as much, to be honest. I guess just because to me it didn't sort of extend it that much for me. Like, it didn't do anything different. It just sort of it was fun to relive that world again, I guess. But the first one was so shocking, and even just the low resolution of the video and the way they managed to shoot it. So they managed to find these, like, just seconds where London was empty in the early dawn and such. The way they were able to make that happen is just, it almost feels like nothing now, I suppose, because you could go like, oh, we shot that during the pandemic. Everything was shut down. Like, you could have shot that movie, like, during the pandemic, and it would have been no issue. So I'm sure it probably doesn't have the same kind of impact on younger generations. But no, people agreeing with me on Billy Zane Demon Knight. Oh, is that good? Demon Knight. Why do I feel like I've heard about that one. All right. Do you still live in Canada? Yes. Have you been to Canadian Warplane Museum in Hamilton, Ontario? No. I was just there Saturday, and it's pretty cool. Okay, great. I'll have to check it out. Absolutely. I get every so often I get dragged to Hamilton to go see a relative or whatever. Wow. Autodidactic Polymaths Assemble. Very good. Dr. Salty Ball Spisaki. Soundtrack for 28 Days Later was a big part of the movie's awesomeness. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of his films in general, and the music in his films is always a big part of it as well. Salut, Marco. Any chance you might play some horror games? There are some great ones out there, both in the jump scare category and in the atmospheric. I love the atmospheric stuff, Rebel Time Lady. Here's my issue. I've been trying to play, so I got Baz. I made Baz by, Alan Wakes 2? And because it just looked like fun, and I used to really enjoy watching Baz play Five Nights at Freddy's, and watching him and his friends go through the sort of the RPG versions, those, they're not even role playing games. They're almost like choose your own adventure horrors that you're walking through. You have to solve things, and Dead by Dawn, or what is it? That, all those kind of stuff. I really enjoy watching Baz do that. My only issue with Alan Wakes is the camera. I've got this slight vertigo all the time that is just made unbearable when I watch anything that's moving around too much. Like, it's basically stopped me from playing video games, and poor me, I'm such a victim. But it's probably good, actually, that I can't play games as much as I used to. But I was really hoping to play more video games with my son as he got older, but I just get so sick now. I just get so horrific. I don't even know if I can play Minecraft anymore. I'm dying to try out Fortnite, because, I played Fortnite with him, and I used to play with Cal. It was fantastic. I used to play with Cal and Jack Jasser. We had so much fun doing that. I'd love to go back to that, but honestly, I'm not sure that I could do it anymore. Maybe I could sort of build back up to it or something, man up. All right, what do we got? Hello from JD Lady. JD Lady, that's a good one. Who rated with Saucefire? Well, hello and welcome. What have you got there wiggling away? A little cat. That's cute. Saucefire. How you do, Hugh Crew? Hugh Crew, I like that. Welcome, Raiders, says Mona LGS. We've got Eric here. We've got Triptronics. Triptronics, of course. That I already talked about that. VW. We've got Eric. Tyrannosaurus. No, Tyrannosaurus. Very good. OG Death Dog. Wow, someone likes horror there. Greetings from the Dorkdom again. What do we got? Best soundtrack too. Hot Fuzz was brilliant. Weirdly, I didn't love Hot Fuzz. It's so funny. My friend was saying that the other day, how much they liked Hot Fuzz, and I was just, Spaced, classic, yes, absolutely. Baby Driver was brilliant, yeah, I really thought so. Giallo, I think, is what Italians call their horror movies. Giallo. Is that, they used to call them Giallo, is that, there's apparently, yellow in Italian is what they used to call the old spaghetti Western style of horror movies. Not that they were Westerns, but that era of them. And the reason why they called them that was because a lot of them were based on these yellow pulp kind of books that they could get, and they all had these yellow covers. So apparently that's why they used to call it yellow, which I just thought was kind of fun. Again, another great reason for reading this book. I've got to say, I'm really enjoying this one. I've got to say, I just recommended memory and madness to one of the Let's Talk Science folks. Oh, Let's Talk Science! I talked to Let's Talk Science the other day, and it looks like I'm going to do some moderating for them. They're going to have some real geniuses come in and talk about things, and I'm hoping to maybe persuade the Hacksmith into joining us for that. I'll see. I haven't talked to him about it yet, and I know he's incredibly busy, but I'm hoping I can sort of drag him into that. The idea is just to talk to people about how science is influenced by science fiction, and she thought it'd be a good idea for me to come and do that. And I love Let's Talk Science. A fantastic organization up here. It's a charitable organization. If you're up in Canada and you want to throw them some money, I highly recommend it. Bonnie is just brilliant. She's been running the thing for 30 years now, though she doesn't look a day over 30 herself. And she's amazing, and I just absolutely love what they're doing, and whenever I can help, I do. So that was one of the things that came up recently. We should all play an online game, Dave and all us fans one day. It's a good idea. Arachnophobia, oh my God, I've seen that a few times. I loved Arachnophobia. Hey, David, would motion sickness pills help your vertigo? Yeah, I'm sure they would, William, but here's the thing. I don't want to take gravel and stuff to play a video game. I tried their ginger pills. Didn't work. I mean, even just talking about it, I feel a bit queasy. Yeah, I just, also reaction time is important in a lot of these games. I don't want to be all woozy just because I got, it's just miserable. My terrible life. What do we got? Hey, David, just wanted to stop by, tell you that I thought you were brilliant in SG-1 and Atlantis. Thank you very much, Crimson Soldier. I also felt the same way. If they ever make a new Stargate show, it'd be awesome if you were able to come back. Man, I'd love to. Yeah, just tell me when and where. I keep saying whenever. Watch the TV show Scorpion. Have I seen that? Is that the one where that advanced team that has to solve things? I never watch traditional television anymore. Pings, Mark LaPointe, how are you? Can't play Star Trek Online on Windows 7, so I'll pass. Really? Wait a sec. So, Damien, you can't play Star Trek Online on Windows 7 because of motion sickness, or you just can't play it on Windows 7? So, wait a sec. So you're still running Windows 7? I hope you're getting all the updates and all the patches, because otherwise you could be in trouble. All right, what else we got? But Rebel Time Lady, yeah, I'll look into playing some horror games for sure. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens over the Christmas holidays. Maybe there's a time we can do something fun like that. Starfield, current go-to, Joel. Yeah, people keep telling me about Starfield. I've got I mean, again, but it's just try it with your Horizon glasses. Yeah, I have, James. Actually, I was watching Baz play. I think I tried it with the Alan Wake's 2 thing. I tried my Horizon glasses, and they didn't work. The Horizon glasses, for those of you who don't know, are made by Citron in France, and they're these silly glasses that little circles with fluid that sits, a blue fluid that sits in the bottom of each, and there's rings there and rings there, and so wherever you look at the corner of your eye, you see this it's not a stable horizon, but it just creates a horizon that's stable to your glasses, and apparently that helps. It helps me in the car. I not as successful with video games, I find, so we'll see. I get a girl dog. I'm going to call it Anita, for I need Anita. My PC crashed and was downgraded. Can't wait to try Starfield GTA 6. Yes, GTA 6. My son is quite excited about. But how could you get excited for something that's coming out in 2 years' time? Like, that's just a little bit too much advance warning for me. I don't want to have to wait that long. GTA, yeah, it looks beautiful. I love this trend on social media of all the same colors being used by all the other gaming companies and stuff. I think even Walmart did the same kind of color on some of their announcements to tie into that. It's so popular. I've got an email of awesomeness I'm working on right now. I want to touch on a few of the things that came up that looked amazing. One of them being Blade. Holy crap, that Blade teaser trailer thing looks freaking cool. Always liked Blade. The cat augmented reality table stuff I wanted to help upgrade AMC theaters, Diamond Hands Theater, and gaming. Wow. I mean, augmented reality, I like the idea of that. I mean, Barnacles keeps telling me I've got to get the new Oculus 3. And maybe when I get a job I'll do that. But the idea that they have sort of mastered the AR side of it, and AR horror, come on, that's freaking that's perfect. I think they had a horror game on the iPhone you could do. Not an iPhone, but on mobile that you could do where you had zombies. I think it might have even been The Walking Dead, I think, might have had a game where you had an augmented reality game where you had zombies running down the road at you and stuff. That was kind of creepy. Okay, so I'm kind of hoping. I don't think it's going to happen because it's already 2:15. But I was hoping to do my Damn Dirty Abes with Lance today. But I have an audition today. Bloody auditions! Why don't they just give me the role, for God's sake? But yes, I have an audition to do. It's for a comedy thing, which of course I don't have a lot of as they would call tape on comedy stuff. I have funny things in serious things for the most part. I have like sort of McKay level comedy, but it's still not what this is. More of a sitcom-y kind of thing. So I'm gonna have to actually put that on tape. So I'm gonna have to go shower, make myself look pompous and uptight. Shouldn't be hard. And then I got to go record that. So I'm going to see if I get out in time, then I'll be able to chat with Lance and do our little weekly chat, which is the Damn Dirty Abes podcast, as we're calling it, which is kind of fun. And where I'll probably repeat half of the stuff I'm saying here now, but it'll be much more exciting because Lance will be there too. All right, so I got to run. I got to go shower, get ready to do this stuff. David, I was surprised that the guys from Toronto that I watched never went to North Shore like you did. Thanks for sharing, sir. You're welcome. What was North Shore? What did I do? Where did I go, North Shore? Good luck with the audition. Thank you very much. Be funny. Yes, I'll do the best. McKay level comedy is the best. That's what I think. I think that's where to go. I don't like it when it gets too... Well, no, it's not true. What am I saying? Dog's Breakfast is nothing but me doing slapstick. I think you've either got to be way out there slapstick, or you've got to be just like John Cleese subtle. If John Cleese is subtle. Good thing is McKay comedy ages just fine. Exactly. Look at me aging before your very eyes. All right. Is there anything else I need to say? You could always make Dog's Breakfast Part 2. I know I could, but the thing about Dog's Breakfast was that I could do it while I was doing Stargate. What I need is to Stargate to start up again, then I can do another Dog's Breakfast. There you go. Another good reason for it. Oh, brilliant. Good luck. Not that you need it. Oh, I need luck. It's all luck. All this is luck. It's luck and genetics. That's all it is. Anyways, all right. So, thank you very much. As I say, I may see you later today. If not, I guess we'll aim for tomorrow. And thank you for all your well wishes. I will let you know how it goes. Of course, I can't say anything about it because, first off, I haven't got it. And secondly, they would kill me. So I will say be safe. No, I'm changing that. I've got to change this. So I was going to say be brave, be kind, be brilliant. Or do I say be curious, be kind, be brilliant? I don't know. Think about it. Get back to me. All right. Be brave, be kind, be brilliant. Until we again, I will say cheerio and huzzah. And then I will click this button and end our wonderful little chat. Thanks all very much. I don't know why you come and see this. I very, very much appreciate it. But I am constantly amazed that anyone shows up to watch a great, sweaty Stargate beast like me whine and complain about his exercise regime and then babble on about God knows whatever is in my strange ADD brain. But anyways, very, very much appreciated. Thank you very much. We'll talk soon. And keep an eye out for the email of Awesome Awesome coming soon. Go check out techbandits.org if you want to sign up for that.